Any other question from any member?
How long before we're expecting a final decision on this from the Supreme
From this
Court?
row, who knows? I mean, that's the Supreme. Yeah, they don't have a timetable. Probably within a year, I would imagine, if they accept jurisdiction. So what happened is, the petitioner, the city, filed a jurisdictional brief asking the Supreme Court to accept jurisdiction. The opposing party responded, and so now the Supreme Court is considering whether they will accept jurisdiction, and they don't have a time frame by which they have to respond.
And to the manager or the chief, how difficult would it be to convert, to keep cameras and to have, I mean, if the only issue is who's looking at the pictures, which is kind of silly, I'm sure anybody can look at a picture and see, yes, car, stop, but how long would it take for our police department to hire a person to sit there and look at pictures instead of ATS?
Well, one of the things that I think we discussed last time is that only a police officer is authorized to issue a,
No, I think I believe if the chief could explain a little further on this.
And it's fortunate too, we have Orlando Torres from ATS for more accurate and specifics. I'm bringing them up there because there is a process. And the process, my understanding, you let me know too, Madam Attorney, the understanding we have is right now, as was mentioned, all the tickets go to a ATS, and then let's say there's 1,000 tickets that go to ATS, and they review those, and out of those 1,000, let's say 700 of those, they come to our police department, and then we go ahead and review those 700. And then still out of those 700, there may be only 500 that we feel are legitimate tickets that are violations. My understanding of the process is not for these 1,000 tickets to go to ATS, it comes straight to our police department, and then we review them. And I want Orlando Torres to elaborate on that if he could, if it's okay, City Manager, the specifics.
Good evening. Good evening, Orlando Torres, American Traffic Solutions. So just to add a little bit to what the chief is talking about. So the process works where it's your officers, your certified officers, law enforcement, public service aides, whatever the term is here in North Miami, that does all the reviews and makes all the decisions on the violations. That really hasn't changed. What we have added on, as you can imagine throughout the state, every city has their own interpretation of what this ruling means. And so therefore, there's a lot of different requests from clients. So what we've done is we've tried to make process changes behind the scenes to address how they want to satisfy their particular understanding of the ruling. Your program has already discussed some of the initial things that we put out to other clients that they're trying around the state. And there's some additional things that cities like Fort Lauderdale, possibly Hollywood, are going to add to that. And that's where they're going to change access to looking at every single violation, or at least having access to it. And again, that's going to be a decision that Fort Lauderdale is going to make. What they did make clear, and the mayor made clear, is that their program is not going away. They're going to go back and change the processes, and they're going to make sure it complies as best they can with the ruling that came out. As with many cities, they feel that there is a strong safety component here, and they want to continue it. Those options are available to you. We've had some of those discussions with the police department, and you'll choose whatever is good for your program to satisfy your understanding of the Aaron case. And we'll provide whatever details and example as may be needed.
Just a short, I just want to read into the record. This is the conclusion of the case, the Fort Lauderdale case, and I'll just read the summary of it. The city of Fort Lauderdale, in accordance with its contract with ATS, violates the requirements of Florida Statute 316 in that the city's representative does not actually create a uniform traffic citation pursuant to the business rules and questionnaire of the city, and has given ATS unfettered discretion in determining who receives the citation in direct violation of Florida Statutes 316, and in holding such the City of Hollywood's case, Hollywood versus Aram. As such, the defendant motion to dismiss was granted and the case was dismissed, leading to suspension of all.
Yeah.
Right, but that's Hollywood, right? You said that's Hollywood.
Fort Lauderdale.
Where? Oh, this is
That's the Fort Lauderdale
the
ruling.
Fort
on
Lauderdale ruling based
referencing
on
Aaron,
yes,
correct.
right, okay.
And so what Fort Lauderdale is going to do, Hollywood is going to do, and some other clients have already done around the state, is they're going to change their process to try to appease that. Whether it gets overturned in a year, 6 months, whatever it is, they're making some administrative changes, and that should satisfy the requisites in there. So again, those options are available to whatever client wants to use them. And really the big challenge has been every client seems to have a little bit different interpretation of what it takes for them to satisfy this. And therefore we've created a lot of different choices for them. So the reference to the administrative and the UTCs or the citations that they mentioned in there, again, they're solutions. Your city would choose what they wanted to do if you choose to change anything.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
is that an update or something that we need to vote on? What is that supposed to be?
It's
Certainly it's not in the agenda.
It's
So
a,
what
it's
is
a,
it?
it's a
Update?
discussion. I wanted to get an update because the chief was supposed to go and get some data from the neighboring cities and from other cities, and I wanted to hear, especially because of what happened in Fort Lauderdale
Your mic is off.
It's my voice.
So where do we go from there?
We have to revisit it. Either at the next meeting we can have a continued discussion of this item, because it's very important for us to put it to rest, to decide whether we're going to go forward with the traffic lights or do away with them.
Well,
And
when we're gonna-
I would suggest that since it's so important to us to actually put it on the agenda, discussion item, people will come and give their point of view about it, and at least we'll be more prepared about
For
what we're
next
looking
meeting?
for. Yeah, for the next meeting.
Not discuss, sorry, and Council Stewart, it's not discussion because we put it on the agenda and we ask you to do a month until the chief of police come up with some type of study or
Right.
when is gonna be available.
Do you plan to come with more information, Chief? Oh,
Some of the agencies just deactivated a red light camera, as we mentioned about in December 2014. We
yeah.
thought it was idea to have at least 6 months to compare. That's the idea, to have a 6-month comparison. So
Is it 6 months?
in one of these cities were December, the other one was in June 2013, which we got the results from Pembroke Pines. But Hialeah, Hollandale, and El Portal were the 3 agencies that were nearby. And then we wanted to hear as well from Fort Lauderdale and Hollywood, considering they just went to the deactivation of it. But as a suggestion, perhaps, we want some accurate data. I mean, I think the whole essence is if we remove the cameras, how much of an impact, negative or positive, it would make to us here in the city, the driver that goes through that intersection. I mean, the impact we have received already. Crashes have reduced. We have less fatalities at this. So, and the present is there, definitely is beneficial. The point, once again, is to have some comparison data and provide that, so we can provide that accurately. So I would say another 2 or 3 months went by, so I would say at least another 3 months. We have 5 to 6 months at that point, and would be more accurate to provide and come here with some specifics.
How
But
they
just to
gonna
go
get
with 2 or
paid?
3 months, it's just gonna be a residual effect.
So
People
not
will
continue?
still think there's cameras there, whether to remove or not.
The contract is expired, right?
Yes.
Yes, the contract
the
is,
month to
they're on month to month.
Okay.
And I think the only reason why the mayor brought it up is because of what recently happened in Fort Lauderdale by the city manager suspending the program
Yep.
effective immediately.
But the thing we cannot
I
do,
know I
cannot
also-
just keep it for month to month. We gotta decide.
Correct.
What
I
we
also
wanna
spoke
do
to
with it.
Hollywood, the city manager in Hollywood, about 2 weeks ago, and their program is similarly, they're looking at, the program is losing funding or losing money, and they are, looking at suspending the program as well.
And if we have to hire, the money that you said we were making, if we have to hire staff or more
Is
police officers to do the
Additional
job
staff to
inside,
review the uniform
That's
traffic
right.
citation
yeah.
per the Florida statute requirement.
Yes. So we're probably going to end up in the same
Yeah.
situation.
So
All right?
if
Go ahead.
it's the will of the council to bring it back at the next meeting,
Yeah.
then
Yeah, we'll decide then.
we'll make a decision.
Cannot keep-
City Manager, can I add a comment? Between now and the next council meeting, I think it'd be very ideal. What we're going to do, hearing about the process and speaking to the city attorney, we can find exactly what those numbers are that are going to ATS, see exactly what additional staffing that we're going to need, what additional cost is going to be to the city. And we'll be able to bring that information back.
Yes, please.
And then once we can adhere to that process, and we will not be deviating from the process, if city attorney is okay with that.
Mr. Mayor, may I?
Go ahead.
Yes, that's fine.
What
No,
is
no,
it?
no, Madam, Councilwoman
Okay.
wants to say something.
It seemed like we're dancing around okay, never mind.
The red light cameras?
The red light camera.
I'm not.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking for
Oh,
myself,
for you.
what I see. Wow,
Actually,
you guys being very defensive tonight. What's going on? Calm
I see
down.
you. I know where I'm going.
Calm down. It's okay. We discussed it the couple of council meeting ago.
Correct. In
Tonight is
February.
an update. From what I understand, they don't have a contract with us. It's a month to month.
Right.
So, what is it that we're looking for? Are we doing an assessment? Are we trying to hold on to the program, or we trying to see if it's worth it, if it's gonna cost the city more money? So I just want to know when we come back
Mm-hmm.
next council meeting, what is it is coming back to us for? Because if, according to chief, I don't think that he's gonna have enough information, the comparison and all that for us to
Not in
take a
2 weeks, no.
decision. So what is it that we're doing? Every council meeting, we bring it before us, yet again, we're not making a decision about it.
First of all,
So why
me, I
don't
don't
we-
need
may
the
I?
comparison and do that to make my decision.
Nope.
It's just you
You wanna
guys.
make a decision tonight?
I don't
No,
mind.
I'm not asking to
You
make,
can make a motion.
I'm not asking to make a decision. I just wanna make sure that we know exactly where we're going with this, because I know there are a couple of, things going on. I know the constituent does not want red light camera. However, I know that we actually budget on the revenue on the red light camera. So if we want to be responsible agent here on behalf of the city, we cannot just get up in the morning and say, you know what, I'm going to vote against it or for it, but we have to know where we're going to get the money in order to cover the budget. So I'm not trying to be very emotional about, okay, let's vote it against it or vote for it. I'm just trying to see exactly where we're going with the red light camera.
Right.
Because I don't want it to come before us every council meeting,
two
and then we
meetings,
end
right.
up just voting for something that we're not even thinking about. So that's all I'm trying to say.
You already think. The problem is, you guys said only a police officer can issue a ticket, right?
Or certified professional.
Exactly. That's where we
Yes.
at now. That means look like we are breaking the law as of right now. That's when we got to come up with a solution. Whether we're gonna terminate the contract, or if we hire more staff, how much it's gonna cost.
Correct.
That's where we are, and that's
Right.
what you're gonna provide when you come back.
So
Right.
you think, city manager, chief, you think that by next council meeting, you will be able to have those numbers for us to take a decision? So that, I'm just trying to make sure
Yeah.
that,
Not comparison. We're talking about staff, additional staff.
Yeah.
Chief.
Yeah. We'll be looking at the staff, and as I mentioned when I presented it the last time, there is going to be a fiscal impact. If the program is suspended immediately, you're looking at $502,000. Sorry, from the 1st of May, we're looking at $502,000, which is going to lead to a budget deficit, or we'll have to make it up.
For how much?
500.
From May 1st to the end of the fiscal year.
Okay. 4 months.
If we move in the other direction by providing certified personnel to issue the traffic citations, we're looking at 2 additional personnel, which will also eat into the amount we have budgeted here. So you're looking at an impact, a
Either
net
way.
impact of about $350,000 either way.
Either way.
So,
Bring it back before us.
Good thing these cameras aren't about money, though. Sorry.
Sure.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Not
so we'll bring it back next meeting.
So at
With
next
the-
meeting, I'll
with
bring
the-
you both the fiscal impact and what, the potential impacts could be.
Yeah, that way the people will have a chance to be heard as well.
Okay.
Okay. Continue with council reports.
Back to me?
Yes.
Okay. This will take a few minutes, but this is the only place we can discuss it. Several issues have come up with the water bill, and I could have brought it up in the last discussion or now, but the water bill came out they were billed March 13th for October, November, December. And I'm getting calls from constituents, businesses, landlords, and we are not collecting for October's water. We're not billing till March. It's taking us and, you know, it's taking us several weeks to even bill at the end of a quarter, but we're still 3 months behind. A lot of people are having a hard time putting their money aside. Businesses are having a hard time. Landlords are having a hard time figuring out getting bills from their constituents. And one of my questions to my colleagues here is, would we be willing to look at a monthly billing again as opposed to quarterly?
No.
Okay.
If we're that late with billing, then that's something you guys
You,
need to
you,
fix.
you
but-
already said
yeah.
no.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that being said, if our water department, if we're not getting our bills out, and I don't
Yeah.
know if it was just the one time because of I spoke to Arthur, he said something about the rates, but, I mean, the bills are going out 6, 7 weeks after the end. I know we're gonna have new meters, so we don't have to have meter readers, but I'd like to address that. We're all here talking about wanting the water rates to go out. I've been speaking to Mr. Ghani for about 2 years on having a outside company come out and help us run our utility with the billing, possibly saving us money. So I'd like the manager to address that as part of our rate study. Possibly, is there an alternative to have a partnership with this and save money before we can go to the rate study? And
Before.
that's, I'm just bringing it up to the council. It's the only place I
No,
can
I
bring
like,
it up.
I like the idea since, and staff cannot get the bill out on time. And if we can outsource is the delivery of the bills, and that would be something to consider.
Okay.
And
Get the staff to work more diligently or hire more staff.
Yeah, or fire whoever's in
Or
charge.
fire
and tell them
whoever's
that
in
they're not
charge.
doing their job. I'm
Or
so
when a
serious.
private company to issue the bills, if it's gonna cost the city less money.
I mean, we did have the issue with the bills taking about how many, when we first changed over, what was it, a 9-month delay?
9-month period.
So we're billing in March for October. How are we running our utility department?
And now we're still back again.
So we need to look at that also.
Yeah, I'll
And
look into it.
That's one of the things that I pointed out to the auditors that they need to look at. How did we manage to keep our funds solvent if we were that far behind in our money collection?
In
If
1
we're
year.
making the same mistakes now that we were making in the past, Mr. Manager,
We
that's
already,
bad.
we
Well,
already did.
that's-
Not if we are.
But
Well,
No.
People didn't get,
That-
I
that's why
didn't
I'm
get my
Just
bill.
one cycles of bill. I will look into it. The councilwoman spoke to me about it 2 days ago, and I'll be looking into to see. Our billing system is a quarterly billing system. So the bill she's referring to is the bill from October, November, December. So
We're in March.
I
we
understand.
just got the bill. I mean, that's why
So
people are
bills go
calling
out
me.
in
I just
different
got the bill.
cycles, different zones. I will get to the bottom of it, and I can report back at the next meeting.
And about discussing it with another company or having someone else come in and handle that for us?
I
Is that
think
the-
it's too early to entertain that. Why don't we analyze the problem first?
Okay.
Let's analyze the problem first and let's see what the
Because
faults
a lot
are.
of cities are doing that, just
Yeah.
outsources the delivery.
Yeah,
and-
privatizing the whole
And
the
every month
utility.
people get the bills.
Who's in charge of the department?
It's, the utility billing is part of the finance department, so I'll be called the
That's part
floor.
of the,
Yeah.
Finance, yeah.
So we're not looking to go back to monthly, so I just wanted to bring it up so we could have a
If we
discussion.
cannot address it quarterly, how we gonna do it month to month?
It's gonna be even harder.
Well, we're gonna have a new system. We're gonna have, we just spent or requested a lot of money to update our meter reading to be electronic, so we're not gonna have people going out to the property. It's all gonna be done electronically. So
What
that,
do you mean electronically?
isn't that correct, Mr. Ghani?
Yeah, as part of the new, the meters are not changes yet, but as part of the improvements to the utility, we're looking at the AMR system, which is the automated meter reading system. It's like a drive-by. All the meters are going to be read electronically. I think what the councilwoman is trying to say is that with the meters being read electronically, then it would be easier to send out your bill on a monthly basis. The reason why a quarterly billing system or billing period is becoming difficult. If there's a leak and we pick up a leak on the system, whether it's a commercial, industrial, or residential, it takes 3 months before we could actually find that the bills are being overed or they are overusing or large consumption on that meter. If it's on a monthly basis, we could pick it up by this end of the second month rather than the end of the sixth month when the bills will be going back out. I think from a utility operational perspective, it's better we have it on a month-to-month, but if it's the mayor and
But-
council making that decision, then
But Alim, and we're not talking about leak. That's when people doesn't receive the bill. They
no,
don't have
it's
the
two
bill.
separate things. I believe I'm
Oh.
addressing
Two
just,
different things.
yes, it's two separate things we're talking about.
But if you cannot issue, your staff cannot issue a bill every 3 months, how are you gonna issue a bill every month?
No, that's why I'm saying with the new,
Is it the only problem? It's
Right.
someone that's gonna go out there and read the meter?
right,
This is where the problem is?
well, the meter reading is the first step. If the automated meter reading system comes in, then it's easier to implement a month-to-month billing system. That's what I'm saying. If we start with the meter reading, which is the AMR system, then we can go to a month-to-month billing.
That's when you're telling me right now, the reason why you cannot issue a bill on time is because of the reading?
It's one of the issues that we have.
So, quick question, if we decided to have an outside company to help, how does that help the constituent? Is it for the city benefit in order to manage the water bill better, or that will help with the reducing of the price, or how does
No,
it
what-
help?
It's just better managing the utility. Instead of
Okay.
sending out a bill every 3 months, you're sending out a bill every month.
No, that's not what it is. People
We
can
do
get
not
their
want to
bill
do monthly
on
billing.
time.
Do not do monthly billing.
We're not gonna have monthly, but people can get their bill on time.
Well,
That's
a
what we are
separate- that
talking
I will
about.
be addressing that separately, yes. Whether it's every 3 months or whether it's every month, yeah, right now it's every quarter, which is, every 3 months. I will be addressing that with finance.
I also was asking about saving money on our water or utility billing altogether, if there were other options like outsourcing or partnerships.
So,
Yeah, but
All the
I'm having a problem understanding outsourcing it is going to save us money when we're going to pay that company
No,
to manage it.
No, Mr. Mayor, we're talking about delivery mail.
How does that
Delivery
help?
process and delivery. Instead of having 5 staff members with salary and benefits, you hire a company is going to cost you way less
To
money,
deliver the mail, you say?
and it's going to be more efficient. People are going to get their bill on time.
How does that help how does that help?
You
the
know
bus-
how government works, and people have to take 10 cups of coffee, they have to smoke 2 cigarettes, and when you are a private sector, you get more result.
But we have to pay
As a
that private-
businessman, we know that, right?
Mr. Mayor, may I suggest that this is way, way too broad of a discussion to be having under council reports? If you
Thank
have
you.
something you want to bring back to us, please bring it back to us. In the
Okay.
meantime, just give people their bills.
yes, I will. I'll be looking.
on
at
a
it.
quarterly basis,
Yeah, it will be done on a quarterly basis.
Okay,
on time.
On
So
time.
does that mean we're gonna have an item on the water bill next council meeting?
No, please don't do that.
No.
No,
We're talking about delivery on time. We're not
No, no.
talking.
No, but if we're gonna discuss it, how are we gonna discuss it?
Discuss
In
what?
private? No, I'm saying because the councilwoman brings some good issues that I have heard before, many times about the privatization of the water bill or to transfer it back and forth. So if we're gonna if we wanna talk about it, we talked about having another study or committee, which that's another. But apparently the water bill is an issue again, which I'm enjoying it right now. But if we want to discuss it for real, we have to put it on the agenda, and you do all the homeworks, all the concern the councilwoman has, that the concern that we have, bring it back to us, and then see how it's gonna help. First of all, the constituent. Because the issue is to lower the so-called water bill, which we know we're talking about the
He's not
utility
talking
bill.
about
That's
lowering the bill. He's talking about sending the
Delivery
bill
mail.
out
On time.
on
If
time.
you want to
about
bring
both.
it back
How
at the
does
next
that-
meeting, then bring it back.
Hmm?
This is, we're
That's
just
two.
wandering all over the desert right now. We really just sort of need to focus.
we
And,
go-
and
Is-
if you guys have
I'm
stuff
fine
you
with
want to
that.
bring back, bring it back.
Bring it back.
Bring it back how?
On the
But why?
agenda.
We pay Mr. Ghani a large salary to run
Do
this
we?
city. We pay him
Yes.
a significant salary.
You was asking
So
me
if
for
you-
gas money last time. Yeah, so-
So if you have policy changes you need to be made, bring them back to us for consideration, please.
As an item.
But you won't be able to
So-
bring it next on the next council.
Whenever you feel it's ready, if it's the
Yeah.
next meeting, great. If it's the meeting after that, great.
No,
If it's the
no,
meeting after that, great. Whenever you're ready, bring it back to us for consideration, please.
Yeah.
Okay, Ms.
Also,
Vice Mayor.
just, tomorrow is the Greater North Miami Chamber of Commerce lunch at noon at Miami Shores Country Club. Michael Tillman from LaFrac of Olita Partners will be our guest speaker, so it should be interesting. He should be able to give us somewhat of an update of what's going on over at our 183-acre site. So, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, since we're on the topic of privatization, I have over 100 constituents who have inquiries that they've made of me. Some of them are a year and more old. I'm not letting any of them go until everybody either gets their answer or we've given a good reason why we can't. If we need to privatize somewhere, privatize those department heads who can't simply take 10 minutes out of their week to answer the questions that the constituents, their bosses, the taxpayers have asked of them. Please, 100 cases is absolutely unacceptable. If I have to put each and every one of them on the agenda to get everybody's attention, I will. I don't do that out of respect for my fellow colleagues. But Mr. Manager,
Yes.
it is unacceptable for at least two of the departments. I'm not going to name anybody publicly right now. I'm going to fight that impulse. But people, the department heads have to take inquiries from the residents absolutely seriously.
Yes.
Unacceptable. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's all I've got.
That's it. The only report that I have is that, Mr. Manager, we talked, you, the MOCA director and I, we had a discussion about the two positions that are mandatory for us to have at MOCA for them to qualify for recertification.
Correct.
And I think these positions are very important, as Mr. Director stated. Do you have any provision for those?
Yeah,
It's for the curator and also for the registrar.
That's correct. I believe those two positions are key positions that will ensure that MOCA maintains its certification. In order to fund those two positions, there has to be a budget amendment. I'll be working with the budget department. I'll be bringing back that to the council for approval as part of a budget amendment.
Okay, now that certification is due sometime next year?
Right. The museum certification, it goes into the American Museums Association, I believe, in 2016. That's when our next cycle of certification for MOCA is going to be.
Okay.
That's mean since it's 2016,
Yeah,
You
but
wanna
in
say
order
we're gonna
to
win
in
it.
order to be certified, you must have
No,
these
I
staff.
understand that.
Yeah.
Since you say it's 2016, and could we wait for the fiscal year budget to bring it, or do we have to bring it now?
No, I believe we have to bring it now because we have to show proof that we actually have those members on staff doing the curation and actually
Okay.
doing the
Okay.
actual registration of all artwork in the museum and all exhibitions that we have.
Okay.
And Mike? And as far as we put and about the home beautification program, and it seems like we are moving forward, and now we're in the process of hiring the companies, and now we have from our last RFQ, we have a lot of companies that answer and or bid, and we are moving forward. And that's been the 800,000 that was allocated for home beautification in the district, and we will move forward and for the residents of District 3, District 3, and you guys need to remember that when I was the acting mayor, it was a request for $2.9 million in order to provide home beautification throughout the city, but I did not have chance to have that pass. We just secured 800,000 for District 3, and
thought it was
we are moving
1.5.
forward.
Wasn't it 1.5 million?
No, that's a different story. For home beautification, it was asked for 2.9 for the entire city, but
District has a lot
I
of
secure only
stories,
800 for 800,000 and for me. and
That's it?
and
Do we need to vote on it?
No, that's his report.
yeah,
Yours?
that's conclude my report. And if
Yours?
What's my report now?
Yeah.
Oh. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Like to say thank you so much to Park and Recreation for the community gardening. It was a success. We had about 35 citizens that actually attend, where we in Kiwanis Park on 121st Street. There's a community garden there where people actually go, and we have see a lot of people very active there. They're watering the plants. There's tomatoes there and a couple of good vegetables that's needed to be enjoyed, which I was there. And there is one in Keystone as well. So again, thank you so much, Park, for your hard work to make sure that the community stays together to different activities. And another thing that I like to, I'm promoting pretty soon, I think around May, there will be prom 2015. There is an organization that actually in a church that's promoting prom dress for our girls. So I am inviting the city of North Miami residents or whomever knows people that have beautiful gala dress, right, Katya? Regine, I know that you guys don't wear yours more than once, and then you leave it at the closet. So please bring them to City Hall. We do have girls that will love to enjoy those dresses during the prom night. A lot of parents cannot afford, or the competition is very tight. So please bring those dresses. We can actually share it with others. And again, Katya is gonna put something together to send it out there for we can have those girls enjoy those beautiful dresses that we have. And another request that I know that the city attorney's office has been working on those foreclosures homes and land. So I don't want to discuss it tonight. I know in my district there are a couple of houses that was in foreclosures and it's complete. So please, by next council meeting, you can bring us an update where we are, and I'm sure that the council will love to know how we're gonna move forward to allow the city to use those properties. Again, good night,
Yes, ma'am.
everyone. An- Thank
Clerk?
you. And again,
you got more?
thank you. Yes, I do. And again, I would love the last week, although that I did presented the award to staff. It was very pleased to see that how many people in our community participated in our event. And another thing that I have, Mr. Mayor, 2 weeks ago, I couldn't make it to the meetings because I had to go to the League of Cities meeting and the Sister City International that had their board meeting and a leadership training. But I was able to look at the meetings online. I know that we did discuss the city attorney's contract, but however, I did not see that we reached to a conclusion. What is it that we doing? Because from what I saw, it seemed like we voted on something that we already voted before. We did voted to remove the clause that says it's the automatic renewal, but I didn't hear that we actually voted on a contract, except that we did give direction to the city attorney and the city manager to work on a agreement, but it never come before us. So I'm not sure what is it that this body wants to do. I know I'm ready to make a motion to what would that be? Make a motion to continue the contract with the city attorney in the legal term. How would that be? if I want to make a motion.
Yes, you could make a motion to renew the city attorney's contract.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to renew the city attorney contract.
Mr. Mayor, we don't have any terms before us. Is it, A, we don't have any terms before us, so I don't know what we're being asked to approve, and B, it's not on the agenda. I think something that weighty would deserve to be on the agenda.
No problem with that. So I'll remove my motion and I give direction to the city manager to bring before us the city attorney contract by next council meeting. Cool.
All right,
Thank you.
Mr. Clerk?
Do we need to vote? No?
No, no,
Okay.
no.
Just give direction to the manager.
Real brief, I'm getting pulled in and out from the hallway. A lot of people have questions regarding election qualifications and
What?
dates. Yeah,
There's the ele-
surprisingly. Okay, so
There's the
look, we have our election May 12th of this year. That's undisputed. Qualifying period is from March 30th, 2015 through April 7th,
April
2015. To be able to vote for this during this particular election cycle, you have to be a registered voter with Miami-Dade County by Monday, April 13th, 2015, and that's the deadline. If you need help registering to vote, you can come by the clerk's office. We have
April 7 or 13?
April 13th.
Oh.
That's the date where you have to be a
You can
registered
do
voter
register.
by that date
Mm.
in order to vote during May 12th. Our early voting dates from April 27th through May 10th, standard 2 weeks as required by law. And and if necessary, we'll have a runoff June 2nd.
When's early voting? When's
Early voting
start?
begins April 27th and it ends May 10th.
From what time? Do you have a time?
Yeah, it's on our website. So let me
Okay.
explain it. From Monday through Sunday, from April 27th through May 3rd, through May 1st, it's going to be 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, May 2nd, May 3rd, it'll be 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. May 3rd, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. From May 4th, that Monday, through Friday, May 8th, early voting time will be 11 a.m. through 7 p.m. May 9th, that Saturday, it'll be 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And May 10th would be 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
On Sunday.
And on Sunday. And just to be clear, you have to make sure that you are a registered voter by May 13, 2015. We have those applications down in the clerk's office. And a lot of individuals had questions regarding the qualifying fee. I was pulled out in the hallway several times. I do not set those fees, unfortunately. This is required by the charter where you have to pay a certain percentage of the salary. I think it's 5% in order to qualify. In addition to the qualifying fee of 5% of your salary, you have to pay an additional percentage to the election commission. So that's two separate checks. Unfortunately, I don't set those prices. It is relatively high because the council have a high or reasonably high salary. And so you have to pay a high qualifying fee, unfortunately. And if you have any questions, you can come down to the clerk's office, give me a call. And as you know, because I am on the ballot, I will not serve as a supervisor of election. And in the event that I don't have an opponent, then I would automatically serve as a supervisor of elections. And under those circumstances, I would have to follow certain rules, ethical rules,
Quick
and not getting involved with elections, etc.
Quick
Yes?
question for you, Mr.
Okay.
Clerk. Do we set the time for the early voting? Because I know a couple of people are concerning about how long that the early voting dates or times are and how chaotic it can be.
It's in
So
our
did we-
ordinance.
Okay.
It's in our ordinance, the early voting period. Now, the council can, at times, by resolution, can alter the early voting dates. But I can tell you one thing, the state elections is 2 weeks. The ordinance states is 2 weeks.
Coincided.
And quite honestly, I think it's, as the clerk, I would tell you, it is advantageous to the North Miami residents to have the option of coming in and voting for 2 weeks. The state had it right. I know Rick Scott, a Republican governor, wanted to cut it down to 7 days, and the residents' constituents didn't like that. They wanted the option of being able to vote. So as of now, that's how the resolution was approved. In the future, we can revisit this, but as of right now, the early voting date is 2 weeks, and that's the way it'll stay.
Thank you.
You got it, Councilwoman. All right, that concludes.
Thank you,
concludes
Mr. Clerk. Madam
my-
Attorney?
yeah.
No reports. I'll bring the foreclosure reports next meeting.
Hmm?
No reports. I will bring the foreclosure reports for the next meeting.
No, next meeting.
Thank you.
Mr. Manager?
Just two things, the utility billing, I'll definitely be looking into that, and I'll give you a report at the next meeting. The complaint we got from Ms. Brown, not complaint really, the request about the Nautilus course along Claude Pepper Park. Staff has looked into it, and using asphalt is gonna cost about $60,000. We are trying to see if we could get funding to start the job, whether we do it in-house or put it outside or contract it out. The last thing is on the water issue. I'll be looking within the next month or so, looking at different
I'm sorry,
options.
You say on the question that Ms. Brown asked about the Claude Pepper walkway?
Yes. $60,000 is the cost, and to implement the course not around, but partially
Inside.
around the park itself.
It's gonna be inside of the fence,
Inside of the fence, yeah. There's some conflicts, but we will work around it.
including the empty.
Not the empty
Space.
area, no. We're keeping
it's
it
only
away
on
from
Claude
that,
Pepper.
yes.
What about the empty space?
The empty space, well, that has some safety issues. I wouldn't like to have people
Oh.
going around that section. We keep it where the tennis courts and where the baseball fields are at present.
Okay.
And you say you have not yet identified where?
The funding is, we are looking to secure funding for that.
The money is there. Tell you where it is.
So
$60,000, you said?
Tell you where it is.
60,000 is part of the capital, so we have to look,
He'll
monies-
bring it back next council meeting and tell us exactly where he's gonna get it from.
Yeah, but
And
we
the
can
last-
bring it back.
I don't have to tell him. He's the city manager. He has the budget in his hand, and he should be able to find it. So, thank you.
finding it
So
might
you- So
be,
you're gonna bring it back next
no,
meeting?
it will, we'll have to look at the
budget.
where I could get the budget to see where the funding
You
could
know
come
where
from.
it is.
No, the
So-
reason why I ask you, I wouldn't want Ms. Brown to come and ask.
No,
the
she
same
has asked
question
several
that-
times already, and
that
that's
she's
why
been
I'm
asking for me for many
exactly,
times.
and I will try my best to,
Let's just do
to
it. If you-
facilitate
if you're
and
gonna
get
do
it.
Let's just do it.
okay. And on the last item is the water issue. I believe everybody is, it's a pet, it's not an issue, but all the council members and the mayor and everybody, but in order to reduce, I don't think we can reduce the water bill speaking and running the utilities for the last few years, but stabilizing the rates and keeping the rates at status quo or at that level right now as we speak, it could be one of the things and one of the options that I look at. Whether it's a public-private partnership, whether it's a design build option that we have in operating the utility, operating the water plant, I'll be exploring all these options and bringing it back to report to you guys on it.
Including the delivery process of the bill.
That's what I said, including delivery portions. The delivery portions of the bid could be several ways. Design bill, design bid bill, public-private partnerships, and all of these are avenues in which we could stabilize or maintain the status quo of the rates, of the water and sewer rates.
Did you mention the palm trees on 7th Avenue?
I told you that at the beginning of the meeting.
Okay?
Just want to make sure that it will be coming.
And
Again, I'll have to meet with DOT and get a
Why-
approval from DOT.
while Councilwoman still is talking about trees, 131 and Griffin,
We're not talking about this.
we got to address that flooding problem before you put anything on 131 by Gren House. You know Gren?
Yes,
About
Gwen
the flooding,
Spence.
we got to address that before
Yes,
we
Gwen Spence,
thinking
yeah.
about putting any trees.
Yes, so
That's
I'll remove the berm.
including the 131. Okay?
All right,
Thank you.
motion to adjourn?
So move.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good evening, everyone. Good night.